Hello everybody and happy week 9. Glad to have you here and thanks for catching up on the video update. Normally these will be posted by Monday at noon, but with the short week and as I figure out the technology, it did take me a little bit longer, so for that I do apologize. Hopefully the screen looks a little bit familiar and makes you feel like you're back in class. We're going to take some time and go through just a few ideas, rhetorical concepts. So this week, you may have seen the Introduction to CO 150 online video that is on your course homepage. I will review Canvas just briefly at the very end. But mostly today I want to focus on developing your thesis statement for your argument. As you know, we are moving into Project 3. That is our research-based argument. Our new due date for this is Sunday, May 3rd. If you haven't already looked at our updated syllabus, please do so. Some of the dates and weights for the assignments have changed. You'll notice the May 3rd is a little bit later than the original deadline that was outlined on our first syllabus. So please do check that out. I do go over that in the Canvas video. Let's take a look at the assignment sheet. So from the assignment sheet, most of the course objectives are really kind of working on bringing together all the things we've been practicing so far this semester. I'll let you read through those. Your purpose ultimately is you get to choose from these 3 purposes. You may convince undecided readers to agree with your statement, you might make opposing readers less resistant to your argument, or persuade readers who already agree with you to take action. Depending on who your audience is, you'll be able to choose one of these 3 purposes and then develop a more specific purpose verb like we've talked about with the rhetorical situation for your issue. You will choose one stakeholder for your audience. This is going to help you decide which side of the issue they're on and then define your purpose. For this assignment, the word limits have changed if you looked at any previous materials. Because we're working online, this will be another 1,200 to 1,500 word assignment. You may choose to use multimodal elements. We'll talk more about those next week. And we'll be looking at 4 to 6 sources. Again, because of the changes this semester, this is also slightly different than the original intention, where you had your 6 sources from P2. I'll go through our Canvas page so that you can find these. Like I said, from our home page, if you go all the way down to the bottom, this is where our new modules will be, and from this, you'll be able to kind of go straight into what looks familiar from our other projects so far this semester. First, you have the full assignment sheet here, as well as the rubric. We will take just a quick look at the rubric. This rubric is organized by audience appeal, so you'll notice the first category, one of the most heavily weighted, is logos. Excuse me. Followed by ethos, looking at how well you build your ethos, looking at why readers will trust you. The second part of ethos is the counter-argument. We'll talk more about opposition and how you can address people who might not agree with you or those other counterpoints in your argument. And last and least worth the least amount of points in this video is pathos, making sure that you use a balance of emotional appeals in your work. As always, style and convention is another small part. This one is actually a little bit more than pathos, looking at citation, looking at kind of sentence level errors, things like that. Okay, so with that, like I said, our main goal for today is to look at thesis statements. Your thesis statements, I have a Prezi for you if you want to click along with me. I have it available for you here. First, we've already developed our topic, and like I said, this is arguably the most important sentence of your entire paper. The goal of this sentence is to preview the main idea that you'll discuss to help prove what you want to accomplish from the very start. So, part of this is taking your original inquiry question that we started with in P2. Now we're revising this into a claim, into a statement. This is your job to say, here's the answer to my research question. You're not necessarily being biased, but now that you've done all of the research, you can arguably back up this idea and present more for your readers. So you might have started with an investigation wondering about homeschool students and how that education compares to public schools. Now that you've done the research, you can hopefully move into a claim to say that yes, homeschooled students are as well educated, taking a definitive stance on the issue. So, no more questions, make a statement. Next, we want to make sure that we're doing more than just kind of stating your purpose. In the example we have, I intend to examine the case of the death penalty. It doesn't really tell us where you stand on the issue. We want to be very firm and argumentative in this project, so instead we want something more definitive that tells us what the answer is. Instead, you could say, the death penalty does not deter murderers, so then we get to a much more specific take on the issue. We know exactly where you stand. Part of this, like I said, is also kind of answering the question and showing a little bit of why this is important. In the first example, we have kind of this so statement. It makes you ask, so what? For example, mercury poisoning kills many people each year, doesn't really tell us what to do about the issue. When you make a more developed thesis statement, we have a lot more information. For example, the many deaths each year from mercury poisoning can be prevented. Now you're making a claim, now we know what this paper is going to argue about. You're going to show us how to prevent this. So, avoid a so statement, don't make your audience guess, tell them exactly what you're doing. Now that we've done some research, we can also start to replace some of this vague or less specific vocabulary. In our vague version, we have people can do many things to improve food in schools. If we know who the people are, we might be able to define them as school boards. That might be your audience too. When we say they could do many things, we have an example. They can mandate this idea. They can require this new thing. Even words like schools, we can define more specifically with K-12. We know what age group we're talking about then. So, now that we've done the research, be as specific as possible. Last is also to make sure that all of this information matches what you actually write about. As you draft, your ideas might change, and that's okay, as long as your thesis statement matches it in the end. So, right now we're going to draft a thesis statement. As we continue writing, make sure that you come back to this idea and revise as your ideas develop. So, these are kind of all of our tips. We'll focus just on these sections here. Feel free to pull up this screen as you draft a thesis statement, as you try and develop your main ideas. For now, we'll go back to our PowerPoint. As you draft your thesis statement, the other most important part, once we know what we're doing, is to think about your stakeholder. As you think about this person, organization, or institution, knowing what they believe about the issue is also important. Being able to anticipate which side of the argument they're on, like I introduced with your assignment sheet, is going to make you more successful in your argument. The second part is what you want from them. How are they going to take action? How are you going to get them to agree with you? Or maybe how can you get them to be less resistant? These go back again to the assignment sheet prompts for the purpose. So consider what you want from your audience. And that's it. I'll take you through the homework assignments just quickly from Canvas. So if you're already on our Canvas page, in the weekly calendar, I've got all of this outlined for you. So you'll do the week 9 discussion post, as well as the Sunday assignments that were outlined on that slide. In the discussion post, so in your discussion post, some more information about how this will work. Ultimately, your goal is to answer these 3 questions, including this question that I'll ask right here. Today, I would like you to reflect on your P2 workshop. In about 200 words or less, tell me how the online workshop went. This becomes even more important as we transition into this online environment. So that's the magic question. As you work, this video will help with these other 2 pieces, and You also have your Sunday assignments. So this breaks down the readings and writing assignments that you'll work on. This is very similar to the e-submit and p-submit that you've done so far. And last but not least, I am asking you to complete a survey. I'm new to the online teaching environment, so your feedback is going to be really helpful as I tweak these lessons each week and hopefully get better and better at preparing you for an online course. This should take about 10 minutes, and I do appreciate your feedback. So with that, I'll leave you with your homework assignments, and hopefully see you in office hours Wednesday, 9 to 12 online. Thanks, and have a good one, everybody.